And I can't see a single thing, thus.
We cannot, but so we'll just let you guys get in a little bit of... You can see it, but we unfortunately can't see what's going on right now. No video available.
You can just soak in the action. I'm sure it's fantastic. Our previous
Sounds great
screen,
right now.
Literally, our previous screen just died the second we got into game, so I just heard the bomb's been planted, thus.
Bomb has been planted.
So Fnatic, who started on T side, obviously pretty good shape. Can't tell you as to what's going on right now.
Not a clue.
Now, I'm going to assume with Fnatic winning that round as the crowd just went mad. So I would guess that's a plant into...
So let's start with what we know, Metis.
Round win. Yeah.
It's 1-0 Fnatic. I feel pretty good we can say that.
Yeah.
The scrambling's going on. So we can try to see the game. Some buying going on. There we go. There we go. Woo!
Thank you, sir.
Best casting anyone's ever heard. It's like the reverse T-Tours.
So I want to thank the crowd there for their help with the screaming. So Fnatic did actually pick up the first round, as we expected.
That's actually insane that happened. let's regather ourselves now, as we do have Automatic with the scout inside window room. Smoke in his face, as we're seeing Flusha lead up through underpass. So Fnatic looking just to take some mid-control. They do have some presence outside the A-bomb side as well, so you could be seeing some type of connector split, most likely with just heavy numbers. In fact, 4 players look like they're going to be coming through this connector area.
Yeah, minimal utility as they have gone for a scout instead in the hands of Automatic. Nothing's going to be holding the close angle. As the flash into peak, and they are going to be able to yield at least 1 kill from this. But that seems to be all. Cloud9 now against the ropes. 1 minute and 5 to play with bomb drop, but salvageable from the terrorists. And Flusha has spotted himself a player on the toll booth. Not able to connect just yet, but this round seems to be going the way of Fnatic, and pretty convincingly so. Unless Automatic can put off some kind of miracle play. Stewie's taken down 1, 3 more to find. Not going to happen. Fnatic 2-0 up.
Yeah, again, just getting that fast mid-control, putting a lot of pressure here into connector. That UMP of Flusha farming some cash, getting a little bit of extra money there in the bank, having no problems getting through, making sure they establish to 2-0. They've gotten past that little hurdle that the 4 spots can sometimes throw in front of you. And so this is now a Cloud9 that's basically full saved. So this should be where Fnatic are able to get to 3-0, no problem. Again, they'll look to be establishing mid-control pretty quickly here as Crim's leading the way.
Yeah, mid-control pretty much has been established and nailed on. Cloud9 with USPs across the board, P2000 for nothing. Really seeing if they get a kill here or there, but that's pretty much as good as it's going to get, and that's not even going to happen. A couple players are low, but Fnatic, they have drilled in a 3rd round.
Yeah, so now we're going to see the purchases coming out of Cloud9, though, and we'll see what Fnatic wants to do on a full gun round. Again, this team always known as being a lot of loose cannons, a lot of high-skilled players. They always do favor that mid-control, though. One of the big things that I've noticed differently about this 5 together now as opposed to the past, like towards the end of 2015, is that all of Mice used to be very active in a lot of mid-control plays. You know, particularly, he was one of the ones that really trademarked getting control of ladder room, but nowadays you see him drifting outside the A-bomb side quite a lot. But in this particular round, you're seeing Fnatic put a lot of focus on the B apartments. 4 players here, just 1 now coming back to mid to lurk, but looking like they want to keep up this 1-4 aggressive style. Again, something Fnatic are certainly well known for. A little bit slowed down thanks to some counter nades, but seeming like they're just a coiled Viper right now, just getting ready to strike onto this B-bomb site.
Oh, the spring may be about to snap into play. Shroud, though, he's there waiting. Skadul's going to get a pick as they take it a little bit too long. Dennis with the entry frag is going to keep this round in the realms of possibility, but Skadul's going to take down another one. Not too far off on a 3rd. This is where Fnatic and their lack of health could start to be an issue. Skadul, though, has missed another one. It's given his position away, and you expect the noose to now be tightened around his neck. There has been enough time for the rest of Cloud9 to get themselves in position. They're not wanting to fully focus on this. Still a player towards the CT spawn with 40 seconds left. They're not absolutely sure on the B hit. Not maybe sure where the bomb currently is. Flusha with 1. He's going to bring this on to 2 more players for Cloud9. 30 seconds. And it seems like they've been on B site forever.
Yeah, and that bomb's actually still down over towards apartment, so even though there's some time, Flush still has to jump back up there to grab it, I believe, and that could be where someone's going to be able to maybe get a spot on him. It looks like it's not going to happen, though. No one has the angle on Catwalk, so he's able to jump back in, throws a Molotov down, 12 seconds left. He doesn't have time to move anywhere else. He has to commit to this bomb plant. He's going to fake it. He's trying to bait them in, trying to see if he can go for the kills. Instead, gets one. He doesn't have time to plant now, though. It's all over unless this guy peeks him too much, but Stewie is going to be able to get the frag, so basically a loss off of time. And Stewie making sure his opponent knows he won that round.
And the really confusing thing to me is actually do end up losing on time because they got onto the side there, Dust, with like a minute to go. There was this strange scrappy confrontation with Skadoodle hiding behind the pillars for what seemed like an eternity. And they still managed to run the clock all the way down. So, really disappointing for Fnatic, but Cloud9 are in a bit of a sketchy position. There's 3 UMPs. They're not exactly set in terms of economy, so if Fnatic win this, Cloud9 are in all sorts of trouble.
I mean, that came down to a 1v1, so 4 players had the rebuy, and again, that harsh reset could certainly be a reality for C9. If they don't win this round, they need to win it comfortably. Again, the 3 UMPs certainly can hurt that, but Skadoodle out in middle early, able to get a pick there onto Dennis, so at least the instant 5-on-4. No response from Fnatic just yet.
Automatic has sussed out where potential avenue of aggression could come from underpass, but not going to be able to hide around there long enough to find out. Smokes were skewing his vision as well. The leaning tower of Fnatic will be peering into window. Not able to get a kill, but Olafmeister elsewhere will take down nothing.
That's on that A-bomb side. Again, that's a new position for him in this iteration of the lineup, or basically return to the old 5. And so he is going to get that opening, as you noted. He gets it back into even situation, as we do have Fnatic establishing that mid-control. Bomb's actually still all the way down back at Catwalk, so someone's going to have to go back and grab that and maybe swing it over through mid-R towards the A-bomb side. It seems like they do want to split. They do have Crims in a very dangerous position as he's been boosted inside window, so they're exercising a lot of control right now, giving Cloud9 a lot to be responsible for. So much they have to pay attention to onto this, but we'll see if they can hold, as again, Fnatic are coming down to the wire on the clock. Almost 20 seconds left, and they still haven't gotten the bomb in the site just yet. If anything goes wrong, this could be another loss off the timer.
And it's Stewie as well with the M4, one of the more powerful weapons that Cloud9 possess. 12 seconds, no room for error. But Stewie gets drilled in the head, and it's Olafmeister again. Time is scarce, but there's enough of it to get this plant down. And all the issues that were befalling upon Fnatic in the last round no longer will be. And Skadoodle in a 1-on-4 is not going to be able to save his AWP. And the nightmare that we hinted at has become a reality. Their economy is in the dumps.
You got to think it all comes down to that one entry that Olaf gotten on the Stewie on the triple box. You saw Stewie was trying to take down Crims, who was coming from window room, so he kind of got blindsided. And that was the entry that really mattered. Of course, Olaf, this is the one that gets him into the 4-on-4. But this kill that comes out here, that's the one that has the most impact, because it was really a situation where they were running out of time. If they would have, lost the bomb carrier there, they'd probably lose off of not being able to plant. So the fact that Olaf puts that through from Palace, that was big. And you can see the impact it has. Cloud9, hard reset. They will upgrade their pistols, but other than that, there's not much for them in this round, as once again, Fnatic is keeping with the standard mid-control. It's good to see them going back to mid-control, because I remember when they had this 5 at the end of 2015, they really just went for fast-paced execution almost every single round. It's good to see them have this mid-control back about them, being able to throw that back into how they approach Mirage.
And it has been paying off for them. They have been getting consistent success, is the one I was looking for in mid. So let's see if that continues to be a trend as this game progresses through. Skadoodle. Well, he's been smoked off. P250 in hand, going to try and find a pixel in which he can aim through. Nothing forthcoming as of now. Dennis, the player in underpass. And again, Fnatic are using their time. Bombs towards the spawn. Haven't fully committed to either side, but Stewie could find himself a couple of stragglers if he peeks around the corner. This is where the CZ is very potent, very dangerous. And although Flusher realizes the situation at hand with no one in Palace from Fnatic, they're going to walk straight past him. Stewie's in a prime position to cause an upset now.
Yeah, he really could if he gets behind them, if he times it just right, and he is beginning to. He sees them running up. He could definitely get behind and do a lot of damage. It's just going to be about how many bullets or how much of his teammates go down before he can get into place is going to be really key. In fact, everyone's just getting wiped out, and so now it really doesn't matter that he's able to get behind. And in fact, he doesn't even find that. Krim shuts it down. And so Fnatic off to a roaring start here in Sweden. 5-1 going to be the score.
You know, in these kind of rounds, you're hoping for a play, as we were highlighting with Stewie. Didn't quite pay off. The rest of his team buckled, and nothing does what he can at the end to make it as sting as possible over round, but not really going to bother Fnatic. They are in cruise control to start things off.
Yeah, they really are. And it just seems like they're stabilizing as a team. Like, their roles are starting to get a bit more fixed. Like, instead of just everyone playing a different position every round, it seems to be getting more proper. And you also notice that the op isn't as passed around, you know, in the musical chair situation they used to have. Like, it seems like JW firmly has it the bulk of the time, but he's going to get run down in Palace. Another save from Cloud9, trying to do something gimmicky. It doesn't quite pay off all the way, but they do get an op in Stewie 2K's hands, and so you can see maybe he can make a play. He takes down Dennis. He actually gets it into a 3-on-3, and something awkward's going on here in window room. Crims walks right past Shroud, and Shroud gonna be able to backstab. No, he's gonna get backstabbed by Flusha. He's gonna get the knife kill. Oh my goodness, that was a circus of a situation on that catwalk. Down to 2-on-2.
Stewie up in hand, nothing with a P250, but considering that Cloud9 really came into this with nothing at all, this wouldn't be a bad take out of it, and Stewie's still on the prowl. Now, of course, the bomb has been spotted on B. He knows exactly where he needs to move to. It's going to be two very angry terrorists to contend with, though. Stewie peering round the corner, can see where the bomb's landed. Oh my goodness! Flusha gets nailed in the head. Oh, and Stewie's pulled it off. The clutch is a reality. What a play that is. I think it was a 4K as well he ends up picking up. What a monster.
That was unreal. You give him a chance, and sometimes he will produce. That was definitely a round where Cloud9 were in the dumps. They just happened to get JW's op down. And even after Flusha does this for a little bit of BM and a little bit extra cash, it doesn't matter anyway, because we see Stewie come through and get the masterclass clutch. That headshot was unreal. Really well done. That can be the type of thing that gets your head right back in the game after having a tough start.
Two ops in play now. Fnatic have Olafmeister and JW wielding the sniper rifles.
Yeah, double op on T side, something Fnatic is familiar with. That means that Olaf will be middle. They'll put someone else outside the A-bomb site for now. Again, trying to find picks, but Cloud9 not really giving them a whole lot of access to them, as they're just kind of entrenched on this A-bomb site and passive at window room. So Fnatic not finding anything until that one.
It's a solid first pick, but considering where Fnatic currently are, doesn't really shape how this round is going to go down just yet. Of course, it gives them the advantage, but they're not in position to make the most of this. So it is going to be more slow pace for the time being. Bomb still dropped over towards the T side of spawn.
Just waiting to see if Cloud9's going to make a play. I mean, in a 4v5 situation, you got to think that they might get a little bit aggro somewhere on the periphery of the map or at middle itself, but Cloud9 just holding angles, so we're coming down towards the mid-round here, and Fnatic are going to start putting a little bit more pressure on Connector. They still have someone in Palace, the bomb at the back and middle, so still no real commitment, but it looks like they really want to try to make some action over here towards Connector. As I say that, though, they begin to backpedal, just leaving one behind. And it looks like they're going to swing that bomb around into T-spawn, so they still want to split A, but they just want to get a little bit more presence over on the ramp before they actually start attacking.
Again, though, time is starting to tick ever so quickly against the terrorists. Cloud9, they can just push in this position and try and kill off as much as possible. Stewie 2K, we know he has it in his locker to pull this off. He's already got a huge clutch. Not this time around. A bridge too far. JW should have that free pick on Skadoodle, who did get flashed up as well. Couldn't see a single thing. And although it's close, Fnatic will have time to get the plant down with 2 seconds left. And now Automatic and Shroud, I mean, they're in safe territory. They want no part of this round. Going to be able to get a kill onto Olafmeister. But that's all she wrote. Fnatic will regain their winning ways.
That's another reset on Cloud9 as well, man. Like, their 2 rounds are on islands, and that's really just hurting their money in such a big way. I mean, yeah, sure, it was a crazy clutch from Stewie on an eco buy that allowed them to get that second round, but now you're asking to have to pull off another miracle like that if you want this next round. And again, though, I'm starting to fear Fnatic, because there's been so many rounds that have come down to them planning with just a couple of seconds left, and it's so unorthodox for Fnatic, right? You expect them to be like explosive and in your face early, and they've really kind of winded that down a bit. They'll take some fast mid control, but they're very patient on how they respond afterwards. It might haunt them in the future, as Skadoodle, with the one gun that Cloud9 had, does get the opening pick here at middle. And last time around, Cloud9 was able to follow it up. Can they do it again?
Well, there you have it. JW puts down the hammer. Skadoodle becomes extinct for the time being. Stewie will be able to get his hands on the AWP though, so it's not completely out of play. And there is Kevlar across the field as Cloud9 have gone in with pistols alongside that AWP. So although it does look pretty sketchy for Cloud9, they have enough power to maybe pull this one off. And of course, this is a much better buy than what we saw when Stewie pulled off the crazy clutch earlier. Nothing in a spot of bother, to say the least, but the flashbangs are going to yield him an opportunity, and he will jump on top of that. Bomb also gets dropped out. Vital information for Cloud9, who are now going to be moving their player on short round towards the connector side of the map. And JW is going to find that out firsthand. This automatic CZ that lays him to rest. Crims is going to go down next, and Cloud9 have only got Olaf to face off against. 4 players strong. What an absolute nightmare. 2 times Cloud9 with very little investment have made the round stick.
Yeah, the rounds that they've won are the ones they've had the least invested in, to be 100% honest with you. That's crazy stuff there from nothing, just staying alive under that balcony, just dodging and weaving around, and he gets himself with this beauty right here, getting the 1 dig as soon as Crims comes around the corner. That was a really good flash, though. That was probably the biggest thing. Like that flash, that as soon as Fnatic started coming up A ramp, got him that first kill for free, basically. So that combined with Skadoodle's op pick at the beginning, he's going to go for it again and gets it once more the exact same way. So they're starting to get into this one now. They're starting to get a little bit of a rhythm going.
Plenty of time for Fnatic to try and force their way into the B side. That's exactly what's going to happen. They do get spotted from connector. There's the M4 hail of gunfire will find them. Does whittle them down somewhat, but they're getting frags on the site down to Flusher, who has had a pretty solid performance so far. So you can't write them off, but it's not looking good, and nothing. He will secure the round. So Cloud9, that's the first time we've actually seen them pick up a rifle round, it seems. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm fairly certain that's the case.
For the most part. Maybe the first round they won. Might have been some guns on that one as well. But yeah, the other 2 before that one were basically full saves or just like 1 gun. And we are going to see a pause come out now, as Fnatic have kind of started to slow down after that big start. It's been some pretty big individual plays and some craftiness from C9 on low buy rounds, but they've closed the gap in a big way. They're now right on the heels of Fnatic in the first half.
Pardon me. Actually, they did win a rifle round. I think it was their first buy. It was 3-0. They had 3 UMPs, if memory serves me correctly. I think it was 3 UMPs, an AWP and an M4, and they made it work. Either way, Fnatic now find themselves in unfamiliar territory on an eco. Ooh. Oh, and this could just be a stomp in mid. Stewie's only able to get 1, but this is where Automatic steps up to the plate and connects 4. Can't get too carried away about that. It was a full-on eco from the Swedes. At Cloud9, they beat what was up against them, 6-5.
Yeah, so this is the round they were really planning on here. I mean, this was basically just them saving up for cash, but this is the round where we'll see them have something invested into it. See what they want to go to. Again, we've actually seen a lot of like fast mid control, but then really slowing it down and trying to just kind of work things out more methodically, almost to the point of dangerous territory with very little time on the clock. So I'm curious if they'll start picking up the pace a bit. Looks like they are going to once again go for a bit of mid control, but they're still at the back of Catwalk, not jumping out just yet. They don't really have the smoke to block off window, I guess, just yet, so they want to kind of wait it out. They want to give that Opera a free kill. Now the smoke goes in window, and so now they'll start making their way out. You do have Automatic playing inside ladder room, so if they try to work up Cat, he could definitely disrupt this, and Skadoodle might get some free reign over the top of this smoke. Does spot one, there you go. All he needs is a pixel, and that's going to get him the opening kill again. Skadoodle's been really good for these opening picks. He's gotten so many 5v4s for his team.
You just know JW's salty about that. It's like, dude, we threw a smoke down in connector, and they still get wrecked through there.
That's why it's so dangerous to throw smokes in connector. That's why you see a lot of teams now just throwing that smoke by stairs, like on the CT side of connector right here in front of Dennis instead, because that's kind of the more guaranteed way to make sure no one from A site is going to be able to spot you working Catwalk, but not that time.
And you can see instantly as well, Fnatic have a knee-jerk reaction. They just pull back. They go more passive. As a result, they try and filter through B apps. So that pick really meant so much for Cloud9. And although Dennis has managed to get himself through onto the jungle side and pick up 2 kills, this round may not be over just yet. I was thinking Fnatic were going to slip away, and there's Jury with a USP headshot delivered first class. Now going to be whipping out the AWP instead. 12 seconds. Bomb is going to start to make a maneuver onto the site and could go for a plant as well. Crim's only on 1 health, but that's all he's needing seemingly. Molly goes down onto the site, and Crims comes through with 2 kills of his own.
I want to see that second one. That looks so fast.
Fnatic somehow come back into that round. It looked like they were totally wrecked after the first 2 picks.
Yeah, it was not looking good. It looked like they really got bogged down over in the middle and got shut down on initial catwalk presence. But Dennis making some big plays from window room here kind of gets them back into the round. And then you have Crims finishing it off. Oh, they just line up for him. Okay, that's how it happened. That was pretty raw there. And so now we are going to see Fnatic again shifting into one of these 1-4 setups off the bat. So it seems like they do want to pick up the pace a little bit in a round like this one. They do know that they have Cloud9 in a low buy, I would imagine, if they're keeping track of these rounds.
Yeah, they'll certainly have a good idea as to what's up against them. And of course, once they find this pistol in the hands of Strui, forcing them down, he switches. Oh, Crims actually team kills JW.
What in the world?
What a nightmare. Could you imagine if Crims then dies afterwards?
Oh yeah, the salt would be Dead Sea level.
Next level. Either way, a 1-for-1 trade, make that a 2-for-1. Automatic comes through with a kill of his own. Skadoodle narrowly misses out on the shot, nearly gets on the second time of asking, and he's going for some cheeky wallbangs that aren't too far off. Shroud will finish off what nothing has started. And now Dennis, who came through with 2 clutch kills in the last round, is going to go for the spray. Oh, and he lands both of them as well. Skadoodle and Shroud fall to his hands.
Dude, Dennis is like just a savior of Fnatic. He had those key kills on the A-bomb site in the previous round. Now he has to try to clutch it by himself, but he can't. Nothing will finish it out with the M4. That's another round for C9. So they are keeping this half close. As close as it gets here at 7-6. Just a couple of more rounds left now. But this was certainly an odd situation. You hate to see it. Crims is trying to get the kill on this Dewey. Happens to burn his teammate in the process. And now it's Fnatic who are on a low buy.
That was some top-tier spray control, though, man. There's something about Swedish DNA that allows them to be just these masters of spray. Dennis transitioning across on the CT boxes was really a thing of beauty. But now Fnatic, well, they're back into a very sketchy buy of their own. Kevlar, a few pistols, and they're going to run into Shroud with his UMP. He's looking to go on a farming frenzy. Automatic's going to fall. That could afford a bomb plant, although there is a player now pushing up onto the site itself. So the last line of defense hasn't quite been broken just yet, and that's going to be Stewie, who is going to get both the kills. Not quite fast enough to stop the bomb, but we are getting towards the dying embers of this first half. Not going to care too much about that.
So they're going to tie it up, and this is actually great when you consider at one point they were down like 5-1 or 6-1 or something like that, to actually tie this half back up. Pretty good news, and it really hurts Fnatic because right here at the home stretch of the half, they've actually had to go into 2 like really low buys, like just force what they could basically. This one's not going to be too much better. At least it includes a couple of rifles, but still mostly pistols in play here. We know they can be dangerous in rounds like this. They certainly have the players on pistols who can be quite dangerous. So you are going to see Cloud9 getting aggressive at mid this time, pushing all the way up to top, but it's going to be JW who punishes Stewie for it. So now it'll be Fnatic getting the opening 5-on-4. They haven't had that so many times.
Indeed. And this is really one of the keys to their success as well. By getting Cloud9 down by a player at the start, maybe being able to get their hands on a weapon later on once they take mid control. That's really what the doctor ordered. JW's going to keep the player advantage going in their favor. They are at a lack of nades though at this stage. We're still over a minute to play with just a smoke and a molly. And as a result of the lack of CTs on the map, it does afford them some avenues of aggression. And it looks like it's going to be B once again, Dust, where they look to try and pierce through.
Man, it seems that is the case. We do see them gathering up now, throwing down the nade. Shroud, though, playing from inside the side, able to take one out, but they're able to trade through evenly, and it means they keep the man advantage. And they will get the bomb down much earlier this time. It's just going to be on Skadoodle and Nothing to try to retake. They both have kits, but they don't have utility other than Nothing's Incendiary, who just spent it.
From 2 separate angles to boot. Nothing needs to get this 1v1 duel going in his favor, and it was labored, but JW picks it up. 1 health separates the two of them, and Crims will get Sweden ahead at halftime, 8-7. But there's really nothing to distinguish between the two teams. It started great for Fnatic, as you said, around 5-1, but Cloud9, they showed great grit and tenacity to bring it back into such an even encounter.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, it came down to some big individual plays. I mean, Stewie2K had that one round with the AWP and clutching. You know, you had Skadoodle finding opening picks all the time. Like, there was definitely a lot of effort coming in from C9, but in the end, Fnatic do maintain their lead as we transition to the second half. After a great start, they did slow down a bit, but they're still with that 1 round advantage. Switching over to their CT side, which we know can be quite powerful. Seeing if they can defend home turf again. Just to remind you, they have not allowed Cloud9 to beat them offline since summer 2015. That is quite a time ago. Almost fully 2 years, because it was July of 2015 at the Face of Stage 2 finals that Cloud9 actually beat them.
I do wonder, though, and this is something that you highlighted a couple of times, that Cloud9 got a lot of the opening picks, even in rounds that they were losing. Now that they're going through onto the T side, if that starts to dry up somewhat and they can't get the opening picks, they can't get the entries, you have to feel like Fnatic can extend their lead pretty fast here. So let's see how Cloud9 fare in the pistol. Not really telling us anything as of yet in terms of not going to be stacking together. It's more of a slow push.
Indeed, just kind of in a holding pattern all across the map, just anticipating aggression. You have them tucked in, watching for a B apartments push, watching for a mid push. You have people watching each spot over at A. So it's definitely very held back, just trying to see if Fnatic's going to give them something for free, but Fnatic content just to wait back here in holding pattern. So we're going to have a fairly slow start because no one really wants to take any initiative right now. It's like Cloud9 now will begin to start eyeing out middle, but JW will be there with the USP unless they have something to chase him off. He could just get a free headshot the first player crossing.
Well, they have a smoke and a Molotov, but it doesn't seem like either of those are going to go towards JW's position. Okay, there we go. They're going to bank it off the wall. Solid utility affords them an avenue to push down into mid with. Dennis is going to get smoked off, and it's going to be nothing with the first of what Cloud9 hopes is many. CT boxes, where Crims currently resides. He's not able to put bullets to faces. And the rest of his team is starting to get thinly spread across the rest of the map. They're going to be trying to come in together. I think that was a bit of an aim punch that he threw the grenade, which is going to completely skew where he was hoping to get that one. JW comes through with the only kill for the CTs. And I think Stewie just spotted his teammate Olofmeister darting down into connector side. So all the chips firmly stacked in Cloud9's side, and now we have it. Skadoodle comes through with the last two. Huge pistol, Cloud9 have picked it up.
Yeah, they just use their utility so efficiently. I mean, they put that Molotov down to push JW out a window so they can safely push up middle. Then they put that smoke down on Catwalk right as they want to hit connector. And you could see that shut down Fnatic's rotation and allow Cloud9 to safely get through connector and get these entries. And you see Skadoodle finishing it off. And that'll tie up the game 8-all. Skadoodle, he's got a Krieg.
Gotta keep them scopes, bro.
Oh, JW just got destroyed out in middle. Again, this is kind of a pistol buy here from Fnatic, and that's a quick opening pick. But yeah, you'd see Shroud using the Krieg a lot, actually, kind of modeling after Magus Boy, who was doing it a little bit on this particular map, actually.
It's a solid gun, honestly, in the right hands.
Yeah, I've never seen Skadoodle use it, though. Usually it's been Shroud if anyone uses it on this team, but Shroud with the Galil takes out Olofmeister, and so the odds continue to stack against Fnatic in this round. We see Cloud9 looking to go ahead and get into this B-bomb site.
A very lonely Dennis will be there to face off against them. Does he have some magic? No, is the resounding answer. Crims, the sole survivor. Could be a case for him trying to get an exit and then save, but Stewie won't allow him to do so. 4 health left. Cloud9 have taken the lead. And correct me if I'm wrong here, Dust, I think this is the first time they've actually been leading this game. They've been from behind pretty much the whole way through so far.
And it's been good stuff. I mean, again, they want to get that win. It gets you into the winners. It gives you that chance to get that first seed. Have to avoid playing any best of threes until you're in the semifinals. So certainly a lot to be had in a game like this. And also beating Fnatic on home soil is definitely nothing to slouch at.
They have actually switched across. So you said before, Shroud does like to use the SG or the Krieg, whatever you want to call it. He now has it in his hands. It is against a fully ecoing up Fnatic. Should be lambs to the slaughter. Crimps from Shadow goes unchecked and is able to tee off with the flimsiest of pistols. Dennis may be able to do very much the same thing and is able to get it done. Even 2 kills out this round is probably more than Fnatic were expecting, but Cloud9, of course, will continue to bully their way in the lead. There will be assault rifles up against them, though, in this round, so it's going to be more of a test you have to feel.
Indeed, as Cloud9 typically, like what we saw from Fnatic in the first half was a lot of like mid-control and then kind of slow down just playing it out, but Cloud9 typically like to just do faster executes a lot of the time, and they do have the ability to play mid-control, but you do typically see them just doing a lot of faster site splits, a lot more early round stuff. Don't really like to wait until the last 30 or so seconds. They want to get out there quickly, and they're going to do the exact same thing, putting a smoke down on that molly, and somehow Flush is still not able to get the kill, and oh my goodness, these entries for Cloud9, it couldn't be better.
I mean, Flusher got completely panned by that flashbang, as does Crims, but already had his crosshair in the perfect position, so Shroud is a goner. But so is Fnatic's defense, it would appear. Even with assault rifles, it hasn't really been up to the task of Cloud9's demolition of Mirage. Dennis and Olafmeister, considering they have no kit, this round is pretty much done, and, well, there's another nail in the coffin.
Those were some clean entries on C9. Just smoking through that incendiary and just getting into the A-bomb site so rapidly. And the entries were just crisp. Fnatic just didn't have much of a response in this round, and so it will be 11-9. But we'll see if Fnatic can dig deep here and play themselves back into this. They're certainly still not far off. But that was definitely a great round from Cloud9.
The duel's going their way, solid use of utility on top of it. And Dennis is able to scavenge an AK out of a hopeless situation. But yeah, this is the moment you can see from Flush's perspective. He just got completely railed by the flashbang. Crims could get one, but got traded instantly afterwards. Cloud9 looking really good on their T side, thus. I mean, this is impressive stuff. Yeah,
again, like I said, they're usually a little bit more decisive in early round, and they're just going to give you those quick pace attacks. They usually have a lean towards one side or the other. You never really see them just run like a completely balanced setup, or it's rare at least, and they're going to have Skadoodles opt this time over towards B. Olaf gives him a little bit too much to look at, so he will go out, and so that will be Cloud9 wants the instant 5-on-4 once more on what is essentially an empty B-bomb site until JW begins to trek his way in, but considering what Fnatic have to work with, unless Dennis can come up huge with this one AK, and you see Crims pop off at the CZ, this is not looking good.
Certainly not. Cloud9 firm favorite to take this round, and a 12-8 lead, which would mean that Fnatic have been barren on their CT side thus far in a single round. Flush is going to land a 1-dig though, keeping this round interesting. JW is going to rattle off some rounds. He can land one onto Shroud's head. Still, Cloud9 have the weapon advantage, and they still have control over the bomb, and nothing's going to go on a pivot and land a headshot onto JW, not able to transition across the Crims. I can see Skadoodle has no information. He has no idea where those potential CTs could be hiding, and it's going to be benched where Flusher lays him to rest. First round that Fnatic have picked up on their CT side.
And of course it would be with the buy that they had, right? Just that one AK, you had a CZ, you had some P250s out there. There was not a whole lot to go off of, but in true Fnatic fashion, they found a way to put those rounds together, and so now it is going to be 9-11 here. Now they have the double op set up as well. Fnatic, chance here to start working towards a tie game again. There's a little bit of a gap in that smoke on the left-hand side that Olaf can actually kind of see through there to see when it's going to cross. Meanwhile, he's got Dennis for support coming off the catwalk. No one's really giving him a shot just yet. Cloud9 are at the back a bit, looking to press forward soon.
JW gonna put down nothing on the B side. Olaf still peering through mid. Smoke will skew his vision, has to turn tail and run, allowing Shroud to open up. Still 2 AWPs in play. Flusher this time won't be getting bested in connector, playing more of a passive angle. Centralized aggression from Cloud9. 2 of their 3 players currently making a move through connector, the other in Palace, but Olaf is turreting his way across with the AWP. Thinks better of that decision, and curious if that timing is going to end up stinging in the long haul. It's not like Cloud9 have a huge amount to break through with either. They've got a molly, which has just been used into jungle side on the window, and now a HE, and that's it. They desperately love to have a smoke at this stage of the round, but Flasher is going to put down yet another one. And he's on low health, but the cavalry is arriving with Dennis, who's not required for the start, but will be taking down the bomb carrier Skadoodle at the end. Important round for Fnatic, and they've picked it up in style.
Yeah, really well done. It got a little bit worrisome there when Shroud was able to get that kill out of Palace and kind of give them a chance, but great responses from Fnatic across the board, particularly that opening pick from JW over on the B side on the nothing gave them that initial advantage. And now you actually have Cloud9 forcing up what they can here. Not the most ideal buy. They're going to look for a fast A execute here. One inside the A site, one connector. I mean, it's pretty much a default setup for Fnatic, but they have a guy aggressing catwalk, so they're going to have a bit of a faster rotation, especially since there's actually no one in B site. There's one market as well, so Fnatic are in great shape to rotate fast on A when this execute begins to pour in. They'll be there in plenty of time, but we'll see if Cloud9 can still brute force their way through.
So we'll be pulling the trigger afterwards as a result of not having any utility in reserve. So the plant likely, but the retake very possible. Flasher taking a whole bunch of damage, but is going to come out on top. Stewie falls by the wayside, momentarily silenced, and nothing decides to try pushing through, but he will meet around courtesy of the AWP, and JW goes in for one of his own. Looking good for Fnatic now. Automatic and Skadoodle, they both have AKs, they both have a hope to maybe crush the Swedish Dreams, but he's asking so much. And they're both on the same side as well, so even if Automatic goes out and lands an entry, the chances are so slim anything happens. The bomb wasn't even planted for them. So instead, Automatic's going to try and save.
And they were able to get in, but they didn't really have any utility to hold off the retake, and they tried to make some aggressive plays in CT spawn. They just didn't pan out. Really well done from Fnatic. Those AWPs are going to work in a big way for them. And now they've tied the game right back up at 11-all. And now it's Cloud9 with even less. Even after the bomb plant and the loss bonus, they still want to kind of save up their money for the next round. So they'll buy what they can here, but not enough to handicap them. And this means Fnatic, this might be the way back into a lead, as we do have Crims playing way up close on A ramp. He could disrupt them right away with a nice spray down. But if he goes out, that could get Cloud9 the advantage they need to get in here. He actually backs off, thinks better of it, now on top of the balcony.
There was a volley placed down, though, which pretty much nullified all the smokes that started to land on the site. They're not able to get any avenging frags, which was a consistent theme earlier of how Cloud9 were getting T rounds. So Fnatic done a great job of stopping the momentum in this round. The bomb will not be getting planted. Nothing now with an AK. Not long for this world. And, well, Fnatic, they started very poorly on this half, but they're coming back with a vengeance.
Yeah, masterclass work there from Crims over on the A side, getting that balcony kill, dropping down, staying alive for more. Winds up with 3 kills on the round, so really nice defense, whittling down the numbers of C9, who now have to think about things a little bit. Again, they didn't buy up too much in that round, so they should be able to get a full buy into this one. Between the bomb plant in the previous round and the loss bonus. Fnatic with the lead, of course. Gonna see if they can't finish this one off.
Well, this game certainly on the scales, tipping slightly in favor to Fnatic, just by 1 round. But it's the economy that's also going to be working against Cloud9, now on the CT side, of course, where maybe they're not going to be able to get as many AWPs on the likes of Skadoodle and Stewie, who did such a good job when the roles were reversed. Ran into a Swedish blockade for the time being. So understandable they'd be trying to collectively get themselves sorted out here with a tactical pause.
Yeah, I'm just curious what Cloud9 wants to go to now. Again, they are fairly execute heavy. They have a few more we haven't seen yet. They like to be aggressive. They like those 1-4 setups. They like those quick 2-3 splits. They have some fakes as well in their back pocket they can pull out. And just all what you think is your best play. I'm not really sure what that's going to be. Of course, Dewey is back as the in-game leader of the team after a short stint of automatic serving in that role. decided that they were better off, as Automatic felt that he wasn't having the same impact as a player while he was calling, whereas Stewie seemed to be able to balance the two a lot better individually when it came to statistics and whatnot. So he's going to be back in there. But you know this is a team that's always been one that probably has a very collective leadership. Guys, well, even if Automatic's not the actual in-game leader, he's very vocal, so is Nothing. So it's kind of a shared responsibility for this team. It has been that way for quite a long time. So let's see what they've come up with. It's a big round for them.
Also, my feverish brain just wrecked me. I said Cloud9 were on the CT side. Definitely not true, of course.
It's
Definitely
okay.
on the T side.
It's okay. We know.
I'm a scrub. It's all good. Going to be aggressively pushing up mid anyway, looking to counter any mind games that Cloud9 had planned. Actual fact, aggression on two sides, up mid and through B app simultaneously.
Yeah, this is definitely a change up here from Fnatic to try to take this much map presence. I mean, JW has been a little bit aggressive on B with the op here and there, and he's going to find Shroud this time. It's the second time he's found an opening pick from that position. The last time it was against Nothing, and that did lead to a round win for Fnatic, so yeah, it's been the catalyst at times for Fnatic here, and this is definitely a great way to start. Again, this is such a big round for Cloud9 because they don't really have that much money in the bank. They're going to have a way lesser buy in the next round than this if they decide to force. So Fnatic are starting to really comfortably stabilize that lead. A good chance to extend it if they can finish this one off, as we do see Cloud9 beginning to gather up over here towards the B apartments.
Yeah, and a real combo breaker moment as well after a pause to then lose the next one. If Cloud9 were to falter from this point, JW, who originally did back away, thought about going for another peek, has spotted a play, not able to connect, but he is safe as his teammate throws in a Molotov and a smoke from the hands of JW. Will keep Cloud9 at bay. They're now going to be coming through the window side, and JW decides to try and push up close with the AWP. Not going to work for him, but now Crim's able to transition across for a double spray down. Leaves Stewie and a Galil. There's the first of what they're hoping is three. And a second Stewie! Lightning reaction speed! And although the nade was plumb on Flusher, he's not low enough to die outright. 3 seconds left. He does spot a pixel, but Flusher's playing it smart. I would like to say, though, a big NT to Stewie. That was a pretty sick double.
Oh yeah,
that he picked up.
It's just so unfortunate that the thing that crippled him was the bomb was still up top on the balcony of the apartments, and he couldn't get back up to it with only, like, I think 7 seconds left after he got that frag. He just didn't have the bomb, so unless he could find the frag, it was never going to work out. And so now you see Cloud9, they're taking a save here. They bought up a little bit on Automatic and Nothing with some Tech 9s and some nade sets. They do have a Deagle out in Shroud's hands as well, but it's more focused on buying up in the next round. And so that means Fnatic are probably going to have a great shot at putting it to 14. And just a few steps away from defending home turf successfully.
And you think this is now Fnatic's chance to get across the finish line. That round after the pause was so vitally important to Cloud9. It didn't go their way. And some last-ditch heroics from Stewie, not quite capable of pulling them back in the previous one.
Now, you imagine that Cloud9 are probably doing a fair amount of talking in this round. I mean, it's a round they don't really have anything into. And they're kind of just spread out, so they're probably just taking a little bit of an extra time to chat without actually having to take a timeout. But they're starting to probe around over the B apartments a little bit. JW misses a shot. Misses another one as well. Takes a little bit of damage. Is going to get bogged down, though, by some utility of Fnatic. Olaf holding him off still here at the van.
I do feel for JW there, though, because I assume after that first shoulder peek, he had the assumption the player would run straight past him B-apps. You can see his crosshair was actually ahead of the player, not behind him. Probably won't end up mattering that much, though, because even though they've got onto the site, JW is swinging like a madman who's had too much booze. Put the bottle down. The bomb gets planted, but when you consider that everyone is so low, I mean, surely this is Fnatic picking it up afterwards. They know a player's on bench, all on Skadoodle. He's a dead man. Fnatic will pick up a 14th. But as a result of the bomb plant, it will bolster the next round in terms of weapons.
Yeah,
and
on
utility.
top of the save, the loss bonus, and the bomb plant, like they should have plenty of money in this round to go whatever they want. And that's actually kind of crazy what happened in that round. Olaf did so much damage, but they just didn't come up with any of the kills. At least he softened them up to make sure the retake panned out. And so there it is, 14-11. Fnatic one away from map point. Cloud9, all their eggs basically in this basket. I mean, this is the one they saved up for. They have all the utility they could want. They have the AWP in Skadoodle's hands.
I mean, the crazy thing for Fnatic here, Dust, is that it's Olofmeister who's rock bottom of the scoreboard. He's on 8 for 20. The rest of their team all stepping up to the plate. You have to feel if Olof has a solid game, they'd be in great shape. And Cloud9 not out of this just yet. They still have a solid purchase here in round 26.
Well, that's the thing with this Fnatic lineup, right? It's prided on its firepower. Whoever seems like any of these guys can be in form and put up big numbers. Obviously, it was Olaf and Crims in the past. It was Dennis most recently. Flush always a stable guy, but Skadoodle gets an opening pick against Crims, who was looking to get antsy over here on the A side of the map. We're going to see nothing lining up a smoke here from B Apartments. Maybe into window room again, I believe. Try to help them get through underpass without being caught by window room. So they want to split the A bomb side through connector with 3 players. They have 2 waiting outside the A ramp, including the bomb carrier, so it's definitely the intended target. 3 players in the area for Fnatic right now. 2 in CT spawn, 1 actually inside the site.
I mean, in terms of opening starts to the round, Cloud9 really couldn't have asked for too much better than this. Winning that first pick, but they've decided to play it slow and steady instead. That flash is ready to be popped across, but Flasher will be put down just before he gets it done. JW now in a spot of bother as the Molotov he's hoping desperately doesn't spread to his feet. The bomb is still going to get planted though. Dennis can look for some miracles through the smoke with his spray, and it's going to be JW and Olaf that actually give Fnatic the player advantage in his post-plant scenario. It will be evened up, and now Skadoodle's going to be teeing off with his AWP. Dennis and an AWP all that remain. And Fnatic may be thinking of saving this, considering he doesn't have a kit.
Yeah, trying to take this one down would be damn near impossible. So Cloud9 will get that 12th round. Just being able to establish that mid-control, the way they worked up connector, just so swift. And so they're hanging around in this game. So we definitely have a close one on our hands here. It's been nice.
(14-12). Here is the opening pick that gave Cloud9 an excellent opportunity, and of course it was in the hands of Skadoodle, who got himself a second later in the round. Now Fnatic do have a buy, but you can see there, Flusher on $0, a couple players around 1,000.
That's good to see Skadoodle playing like this. He actually had a really great America's Minor. People have been feeling like for a while online he's starting to get back in better form after a period where he just wasn't the same guy that was at one point in the arguments for being one of the best operators in the world next to Guardian. In that summer run of 2015, he kind of slowed down for a while, but he seems like he's really picked up the pace over the last few months in regional play, and now he's doing pretty well here against Fnatic. As we are in round number 27, still a good buy for Fnatic. Cloud9 slowing things down a bit here, just some standard mid-control.
Yeah, both teams have been fairly slow on their T sides. Haven't seen too many explosive strategy plays put in motion early in the round.
It's also interesting positioning. Usually it's Stewie who plays outside the A-bounce. I think that's actually Shroud over there, who normally plays B Apartments. I think it's because they just want Stewie to be able to be a part of this entry force that's going to come from underpass into connector, as he is one of the more, you know, initiators on the team. So it makes sense to kind of shuffle that around, and so he will lead the way. A little bit of a crossfire Fnatic has here on connector with JW and Window and Flusha here on the stairs.
Well, he's not going to burn anyone too deep on this occasion. Cloud9 up just next to the entrance, and Flusher will oblige with 1 kill. Dennis from short, but fair play to nothing. He actually comes back with an insta-headshot of his own. JW from CT boxes. And the cohesion that we saw earlier for Cloud9 seems to be disintegrating. Time itself is also an enemy. Nice shot by Skadoodle onto JW, but the strength in numbers. And the Swedes now have 3 match points.
Yeah, again, it was Cloud9 looking for a similar situation in the last round that they won, right? Just trying to get up connector, trying to make things happen. But Fnatic just shut it down. Again, 4 players in the 20s for this Fnatic team. They are certainly almost firing on all cylinders. Even if Ola's had a little bit of a tougher time, he hasn't really been asked to do a whole heck of a lot here. Cloud9 trying to pick up the pace, coming into the A bomb site rapidly. They have the entry on the Flusha. So it looks like they should be able to get this bomb planted.
Again, though, even if the bomb does get planted, there's a lot of firepower and there's plenty of utility plus kit. It's not a foregone conclusion. Nothing's fragged, though. It's going to make things a lot more possible. But Dennis now is going to come through with 3 quick fire frags, not able to get a 4th. Automatic will stop the party for now. But is he just delaying the inevitable, or is he actually going to clutch this one out? He's made himself 1 step closer.
Oh, man.
Crims against Automatic. Positionally, Automatic now has the edge in the sense that he had the bomb planted, but Crims from behind from CT boxes will put him down. And Fnatic will take their first map here at DreamHack Summer 2017.
So again, Cloud9 will be denied a map win against Fnatic. They defend their home soil here on the Swedish side. Well done. Brilliant individual play for most of their players. And like you said,